And welcome back to Crosstalk, where today we're visiting with Craig Smith, the chairman of Swiss America Trading, and a man who has got his hand on the pulse of the economy, watching what's happening. He's involved. He's a very successful businessman, but he also understands the spiritual dimension of stewardship as well. And so as we're talking with you, we have callers online. Please keep your calls short and to the point. As we are in our last segment on the program, we want to cover as much area as we can. Right now, Daniel is in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Daniel, you're on the air with Craig Smith.
Hello. Bubbles recently have broken in stock valuations and real estate valuations. Now the bubble is forming, inflating gold and silver valuations. Do you foresee the bubble bursting in precious metals? And what economic conditions would precede the devaluation of precious metals?
That's a great question, Daniel. Let me make two observations. I'm not comfortable in saying there is a bubble in gold just yet. And the reason for it is traditionally bubbles that we create domestically are a direct result of Fed policy. And much of the demand, actually the majority of the demand for gold right now is coming from overseas. It's not coming from America. So I think this is a legitimate market move that started 10 years ago. I wrote a book about it in 1999 and should be good for another 7 to 8 years. But there is a bubble that's forming in treasuries. And I tell people that they should be diversified in bonds because a bond, if you hold it long term, you'll always get your money out of it. But clearly there is a bubble forming there, Daniel. I mean, think about it. My heavens, the Fed puts the money to the banks lend it back to the federal government at 2.5% on a 10-year piece of paper. We've never seen yields this low, and clearly either the bond market has it wrong or gold has it wrong. I believe the bond market has it wrong because it can be manipulated by our Treasury and the Federal Reserve. And I'm very suspect of what's happening with the permanent open market operations in the Fed. That being said, I think gold's move should easily last for another 5 to 6 years. And I do believe that the days of the U.S. dollar being the reserve currency of the world are coming to an end, and it'll probably be in the next 5 years. Now, people never thought that could happen in Great Britain. People forget the pound sterling used to be the reserve currency of the world. We supplanted them, after between the First and Second World War. It can happen. And what that means for you as a citizen is that we're not going to be able to borrow money to finance deficits at these ridiculously low rates anymore. In order for us to borrow money, we're going to have to pay a higher interest rate, which means mortgage rates will go up, which means credit cards will go up, and it's going to have a devastating effect on the consumer. And considering 72% of our GDP is consumption, it can't be healthy for the long-term benefit of the economy. So that's why I agree with Vic. There's some very troubling times that are ahead. We're not out of the woods. We're going to survive them, just like we survived the Great Depression, just like Germany survived Weimar in 1923. But my goal is to make sure that the middle class does not take it on the chin like they've done every other time in history.
We are talking with Chris in Milton, Florida. Chris, you're on the air.
Hey, Vic, I got a copy of the book from my church library. I want to ask your guest, did you ever read a book by Ed Canelon years ago, The Day the Dollar Dies? Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I have, and I also read The Dying of Money by Jens Parson, who also was very, very close in their philosophy.
Well, I'm an 80-year-old widow now, and way back then, I didn't know anything. I still don't know anything about finances, but I am being bombarded by people. Oh, by the way, I lost a bunch of money in '08 on the stock market, and they want me to take my money out of the stock market and put it in annuities. Do you recommend that?
Not at 80. Unless you were to do a charitable annuity to a ministry.
Yeah.
That would make sense because the annuity would pay you a steady income for the rest of your life, and then when you go on to be with the Lord, it would bless your church or ministry.
Yeah. That's a possibility too, but my children are afraid I'm going to run out of money before I die, and I don't know what to do.
Well, it sounds to me like you've walked with the Lord for many years.
I was tithing before I even got saved because my Seventh-day Adventist brother said 10%.
Well, then let me give you an encouragement, Chris. A child of God will never beg bread. And if he has to send the ravens to feed you, my dear, he will take care of your every need.
Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate that call. From Milton, Florida, we go to Watertown, Wisconsin. We're going to talk with Bob. Bob, you're on the air. Hello, Bob.
Hello.
Very quickly. You have 30 seconds.
Thank you. My questions are, thank you, first of all, with the Lord. I always told my wife he will take care of us. Secondly, whoever is selling me the gold and all the silver, why are they selling this to me with my dollar that's going to be worth nothing or is worthless? That's one question nobody can seem to answer to me. And
well, I can answer real quick because I know we're running out of time. We just take it and then convert it back into more gold. My entire inventory is gold and silver. And so I don't sit on your dollars, in the case if you were to deal with my company, any longer than it takes for me to replenish my inventory. Now, don't get me wrong. I do have dollars in the bank account because that's how I meet my payroll every week. That's how I pay for my utility bills. But I would prefer to pay my people in gold, but obviously it's not practical. But the reality is that I'm not suggesting people long-term sit on dollars. I'm not sitting on any large dollar deposits. All the dollar deposits I have are always predicated off positions that I have in precious metals, oil, real estate, and things of true value. Now, people say, real estate? How could you say that? Real estates get down. That's the time when you buy real estate. Real estate, I believe, is within 10% of the bottom. I don't believe there's another 30% more to go here. And I'm encouraging people that can afford it and do it without having to take out large mortgages to start reconsidering real estate at these levels. I think it's very attractive and will do very well long term.
We have come to the end of our time. And Craig, once more, would you repeat that offer about the book?
Sure. The book will be on sale this weekend for $12.95, but if you will make any donation, large or small, to Vic's ministry, we up to 500 copies. They only have 500 that the publisher gave us. We will send you a copy of Crashing the Dollar, How to Survive a Global Currency Collapse. Vic will tell you the cover is worth the price of the book itself. You just call 800-289-2646, 1-800-289-2646. Please let the gal know you're calling in from Vic Eliason's program so they don't ask you for a credit card. We'll pay the shipping. We'll pay everything. We just ask you to bless Crosstalk and what they're doing to continue to bring great information to you around the country.
Craig, thank you so much for being with us today. And our time has come to the end. We want to say again how we need to pray for our country and move wisely and carefully. God bless you, Craig.
Hey, thank you, Vic. Good being with you.
Bye-bye now.
Been listening to Crosstalk via satellite and the internet from VCY America. Views expressed may or may not be those of this station. For a cassette or CD of today's program, send a donation of $6 or more to VCY Take Ministry, 3434 West Kilbourne Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin 53208, or download by RSS or podcast from crosstalkamerica.com. And join us again for Crosstalk.